Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Pro Run. If you remember, last time we found Ziggy's body, and here is Ziggy's head.
Oh no! That doesn't look like a life mask.
There are unfortunately no clues to be found on the head itself.
It's...
A repeating sound.
Ziggy's head!
And that. No, the only thing to do is to exit and have our detective duo come on in.
What is going on in here?
I'd say you've got some explaining to do, young lady.
Would you?
Why are you screaming?
Because of the head.
I found Mr. Ziggy's head.
Very odd how you're always finding the bodies, Miss Bo. I think we should be going back to my office and interrogating you now.
Here now, Wolf. The young lady just found a man's head. Give her a moment before you get out your thumb screws then.
Thank you, Mr.
I
O'Reilly.
don't think that's hyperbole.
Don't thank me, lass. I'm not saying you didn't kill the man. I'm just trying to restrain Mr. Heimlich's enthusiasm for his job.
But I will get results. Let me talk to her privately.
Now I realize you're just trying to help, Wolf. But I think we can learn what we need from the lass without harming her.
She could lie and you'd never know it. You Americans are too soft on your criminals.
I just walked in and found his head, that's all.
Well, Mr. Heimlich does have his point, lass. It's a wee bit curious that you keep showing up at the murder scenes before anyone else. How do you explain that, then?
Just lucky, I guess.
Well, you do seem a wee bit small to be sawing off a man's head, I'll say that much.
Thanks.
This Fräulein could have had help. Or maybe she's very clever.
Or maybe you're trying to pin the murders on her, so you can find the murderer and save your job, eh?
My job is quite secure, Herr O'Reilly.
Oh, really now? A security chief who allows burglars to steal the exhibits, then overlooks several murders happening under his nose. I'd think twice about your security methods if I was running things here.
This is hardly the place to discuss my methods, Herr O'Reilly. We have a suspect to interrogate.
Correction. We have a murder scene to investigate. We can talk to the lass later when she's had a chance to calm down.
Thank you again, sir.
You're a sturdy one, I'll say that much for you. One scream and you've got your head together again, so to speak. Just don't try to leave the museum.
I can't leave. I'm locked in.
Good. We won't have to worry about you then. All right, Wolf. We've got work to do. Let's go get the crime scene tools.
So that part was pretty much the same as in the bro-op. I mean, obviously there wasn't much to do beside find Ziggy's body and his head. And as I said before, there aren't really any clues either on his body or his head. Nothing in particular to find there. This is a really vicious murder. It seems very different from the ones we've seen otherwise, which were, I don't know, looked more maybe spur of the moment. This one looks like it took some planning and it took some hatred. So maybe that's something to pay attention to. Now comes some of the hilarious times in Dagger of Amon. This here is a place we never went in the bro-op. It is Wolf's office. There is a piece of cheese in the mousetrap there. If you try to pick it up, well, you can guess what happens after you see this. Yes, Wolf has his mousetrap rigged up to a Tommy gun. If you try to pick up the cheese as
You
is,
pick it up and place it in your purse.
you get riddled with bullets. Now, there's some other things in this room which are also hilarious.
Wolfie, it's Olympia. If you can hear me, meet me in the armor room at 2 o'clock. You promised to show me your private scars, remember? See you there, Wolfcakes.
That is the intercom, and you have to just
It's a Thompson submachine gun, also known as a Tommy gun.
be in the office at this time to hear that.
It's a length of wire.
There is no way of telling when it's going to play. Also, I'm not sure where that wire goes. The perspective looks odd. Now,
For some reason, the spine on this book has been turned round to face the wall, hiding the title.
you only see that if you look at this exact section of library space.
This book is a collection of poetry by Lord Byron. Apparently Heimlich had it turned on the bookshelf so that the spine with the title faced the wall. Perhaps he was embarrassed to have a poetry book on his shelf?
I can understand that. Anywhere else if you look?
The poetry book falls open to a poem, She Walks in Beauty, written by Lord Byron. The page is marked by a black garter with a note pinned to it.
Who could that be from, I wonder?
A lacy black garter with the name Yvette stitched into it. There is also a note attached.
Boy, Yvette is just in everybody's business. As I was saying before, though, we'll have to read
The note attached to the garter reads, "You can have the other garter and much more if you meet me at 3 a.m. in the preservation lab." The handwriting is female.
I like the narrator's impersonation of her
You
accent
pick it up
there.
and place it in your purse.
You see that little zoomed-in circle of books if you look anywhere else on the library shelf, but there's no book turned around, so you just think that it's useless to look at books. It's really, really hard to find that, even if you know where you're looking. Now, obviously, I had to activate the lantern here, because otherwise you get eaten by bats if you try to enter this passageway. So this combination of things in Wolf's office, getting the intercom call by just being there at the right time, and getting the book are just impossible to find if you don't know what you're looking for. Notice that this death doesn't appear to upset her as much as
The
Ziggy's.
clock appears to have been broken at exactly 12:04 a.m.
That's an important clue. We know the
2
time of death.
letters written in blood.
And also, we see the CP.
The letters C and P are carefully written in blood on the desk, as if they were put there by the dying President Carrington. You presume the dripping blood belongs to Carrington, since the porcupine was stuffed. You presume the dripping... Carrington drooled a bit when he died, and his hair could have used a good wash to get all the grease out of it.
Nothing really important here.
It's the dead body of Archibald Carrington III.
If you've been watching the if you've been watching the Pro Run, you can actually maybe guess what CP stands for. If you want to rewatch the other Pro Run, it's in there. Now, I don't think we saw this in the Bro Op, but if you move up...
Miss Bo, this is a private office.
Oh, well, I was just looking around. Have you seen this paper cutter? It looks like it has blood on the blade.
Blood?
If you move up the paper cutter, this happens.
Oh, that's not blood. You got me all excited. It's probably just red ink. But if you're worried about Yvette, I just saw her on the way down to Ernie's office in the basement. She goes down there a lot for some reason.
Maybe she's fond of Ernie?
Yvette is very fond of everyone, my dear. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some business to attend to.
I'm not really sure why she would say that's red ink. It certainly doesn't seem to be. I mean, I can't imagine what would cause that much red ink to be on a paper cutter, and considering that we just found Ziggy's head decapitated, it seems likely that that might have been the instrument that did it. Well, anyway, it's just about time for the Countess's meeting with Dr. Carrington and Ziggy in the painting in the art gallery. This is going to be extremely enlightening. So let's go ahead and hide behind this tapestry. 1 o'clock, if you'll notice, is the time. We can actually still find this in the Bro Op, so you might be seeing Bundafund and Skippy witnessing this. This is maybe the single most illuminating conversation in the game. You have to leave.
Well, well. Good evening, Countess.
What are you doing here?
I just happened to be hiding behind the tapestry.
You're lying.
How could you
So
tell?
sassy.
Nobody just happens to hide behind a museum
She's,
tapestry.
of course, just oblivious.
And nobody just walks around inside a museum late at night with paintings under their arms.
She's confrontational, too.
Paintings? Oh, you mean these paintings? I just found them laying around on the floor and I picked them up so no one would step on
The
them.
Countess is a terrible liar.
I don't think so.
You don't think
No.
so? Are you accusing me of something, you silly girl?
Yes.
What do you
There she
think?
goes again.
I think you're a rude girl who needs to learn some manners. The nerve going around accusing people of stealing paintings.
Did I say anything about you stealing them?
Well, of course you did. Don't try to trick me, girl. I've got more tricks than you have brain cells.
One thing I have to ask myself is, why did you bring those paintings to a meeting with Dr. Carrington this time of night?
How did you know I was meeting Dr. Carrington?
I found a note beside his body.
Which is weird, because we found
His
it
body?
before we found his
You
body.
talk about him like he was dead.
Yes, he is. Dead as a doorknob. You didn't know about it?
You're trying to trick me again. Dr. Carrington is alive and well and working in his office.
Well, you're right about him being in his office, but he's quite dead, I assure you.
Oh my God!
And you seem to be a logical murder suspect.
I don't know about that.
Wait a second. You're not going to pin this one on me. I didn't have anything to do
Her
with
voice
it.
actor is
Why
just
would I want to kill
not the
him?
best.
We've got a perfectly good art burglary scheme going.
Art burglary?
I think I said too much.
If you're trying to convince me that you're not the murderer, you're not doing a very good job of it.
What do I care what you think anyway? You're not a cop.
But I am a reporter, and I could write about you in the newspaper.
Like they're gonna publish.
Of course, your reputation would be ruined, and the police would
unverifiable.
get very interested in you. But you're tough, so I'm sure you could handle
So
it.
sassy.
Look, it was just a little deal I worked out with Dr. Carrington. An art forger duplicates the paintings on the wall of the gallery. Then we hang them up in place of the real ones, which we sell to private collectors.
Didn't you think someone would catch on after a while?
Are you kidding? That's the beauty of the plan. When we had replaced all the paintings, we were going to slash them and make it look like someone vandalized the real paintings. No one would ever think we'd go to the trouble of forging paintings just to destroy them.
Poor Wolf.
And Carrington is here to see that no one gets too nosy.
You mean he was here?
I swear I didn't have anything to do with his death. He was my cash cow. I brought him over from Europe just for this reason. Now that's it. I'm not saying any more about it.
And she won't. That's it forever out of her. She has no more information for us. She wanders off, drops the painting somewhere, and the rest of the evening the conversations with her go just like normal. However, this is one of the few times that we'll see a very active admission of some of the background plots and dirty deeds that go on tonight. So that is an extremely worthwhile conversation to catch. So what's left to do? Well, plenty. This is a very long chapter and there's a lot left in it. This is another one of those things that I'm not sure how you would know how to do unless you knew right where you were going. But if you go back into Dr. Carrington's office at this time, you will hear more.
Oh, Dr. Smith, I appreciate your help so much.
Well, I don't particularly appreciate giving it. I have things to do, Miss Delacroix. Important things.
But surely you can spare the time to help me move my desk, no?
Oh, I suppose. Why do you want to move it anyway?
Oh, there is a terrible stain on the rug. I don't want it to show. We don't have to move the desk very far.
All right. Oh, it's heavy. Oh!
Oh, I am so sorry. Did you hurt yourself?
Yes. Oh no, I'm bleeding. You owe me one, miss.
But of course, Mr. Smith. I'll do anything you say. Anything. Didn't I let you in when you asked? Didn't I keep your secret?
Yes, I suppose you did. And I'm sorry about bleeding on
So
your
him
carpet.
and Najir.
At least it'll blend in with the old stain. What is that anyway?
Oh, it is only strawberry jam.
I'm sure I don't want to know that.
Probably not, Dr. Smith. Now, let's go to your place.
So, Yvette is involved with both the Egyptians, letting them into some kind of secret, and she has a lot of blood on the paper cutter in her room and a blood-stained, what looks like a blood stain on her floor. Additionally, we found the Countess's involvement with the art forging scheme in which she was in cahoots with Dr. Carrington, and we can presume Ziggy, since he was also supposed to meet them at that time. Well, we have found out an awful lot in this pro run. I hope you will tune in next time, and I will see you then.
Something